G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with JAZZA. I'm JAZZA and this is the Artist Showcase video series where people who send me their artwork on newgrounds.com, which I review, I feature about a handful to a dozen of them every week, and one of them is picked to be featured on the Newgrounds front page. So jumping straight into it, our first piece is by Vincent Vise and it's called Captain Grim, and it's another piece from his original series he's creating called Eden, and his original character there. I really like this. It's got a very sketchy look. It fits really well in the conceptual art sort of genre of things. The color balance and the composure of the image in particular is quite creative. It's a really nicely set up image. It tells a story in itself, so really great work there. Our next piece is by artist Melanie Darling and it's called Nidalee League of Legends. I think I said that right. I'm not sure because I don't play League of Legends, I play Dota. Let the flame wars begin. Anyway, point of sharing this image is that it's both an interesting composition and well posed and drawn. It's a very, very feminine looking image, and none of us men or otherwise inclined ladies will complain about that because curves look good. That aside, I really like how the frame is set up and how she kind of pops over the edges of the frame in some areas and yet is still behind it. It's really good, and it adds a kind of nice way to present a drawing, so great job there. Our next piece is by artist Xray and it's called The Unknown. Bit of a sketchy looking piece which captures your attention with a very thick sense of atmosphere. Really well done there. It's one of those images that with minimal use of color and shape can really capture an emotion and a setting. It's a cold image. Looking at it, it's like it looks cold and it looks very mysterious. Really well set up there. It's quite soft in its strokes and stuff, so it's not anything too solidified in its nature, but in a way that actually lends the image a lot of kind of a nice aesthetic, so great job there. The next piece is by artist Figureton and it's called Mystery Escape, which they say is inspired by their favorite game ever, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It's quite nicely painted, very soft sort of strokes, but still it's got this really well done feel in the sense that it feels quite 3D. It's been painted, but when you look at it, especially at a distance, it looks really kind of well shaded and really smoothly kind of put together in a way that this person clearly understands lighting and shape, and it comes together really well, so great job. Our next piece is by artist Anna Style and it's called A Day with Pokemon. It's one of those images that gives you quite a lot to look at, but isn't too cluttered, which is good. It's got a lot of kind of people and Pokemon and it's well balanced in its colors and composition. There aren't many Pokemon in it that I recognize. I think there are 3. I recognize Butterfree in the top right, Snorlax, and I think it's Vulpix, or I forget how to say it. Please don't mock me too much. I haven't played or watched Pokemon in a long time. That aside, well done image, well painted, nice, smooth and soft line work and edge shading and stuff. Good job. Next piece by artist Oh Too Easy is called Emerals Cave, and this is another one of those images that really just captures an atmosphere. Really minimalistic in its approach with colors, but it comes together really nicely and really just captures an atmosphere. It really feels like the sort of thing that you'd see in, I suppose, like a concept art piece for an epic movie like Lord of the Rings, or a fantasy sort of series where you've got this rich environment that tells a story in itself. So this image, while an environment, has a lot of character to it and it's really well painted, so great job. Our next piece is by artist The Silent Dane and it's called Decay, which happens to feature a skull, which I'm always fond of. I might not have had a skull in the last artist showcase, which is awful because I always like to have an obligatory skull, but it always depends on what I'm sent. So if you happen to be good at drawing art and you want to be in the showcase, that might be a hint. I shouldn't say that because then all of our future showcases will have just skulls and that's it. That aside, it's really well balanced image in its color and lighting. It's got that sort of dim, low lit green feel to it. It feels quite acidic. There's a lot of smoke overlays that have been used fairly effectively, and the feel of the picture is the strongest part of it. It's done really well, so great job. Next by artist Tony3M is called Caveman. It is this person's first painting in Photoshop, and it's come together really well, especially for an early sort of painting in this person's progression. It looks really cool. We've got a strong mid and foreground, nice and solid and well painted, and then the background we've got a good sense of scale and space as well. So slightly blurred, but also that atmospheric tint on that large tree in the back. And I think that large tree is a nice feature too, that we have the normal sized pine trees and the dinosaur and the man on the dinosaur to sort of give a context to size, and then just this colossal tree, which for some reason feels quite prehistoric and fitting. So great job, and thanks for sharing. Next by artist I Like Purple is called Pokemon Collage, and it is, as you might guess, a collage of Pokemon all painted together. There's a speed painting that they did, you can find the link of it on their art piece on Newgrounds, but the shading is really well done, and I can see that they've put a lot of focus on things like the rim lighting, on making sure that the colours mix well, on shading with darker versions of those colours rather than just shading simply with blacks and whites, which is a bit of a rookie mistake. So they've done quite well there. That's something to keep in mind whenever you're shading in colours. Make sure to shade with darker versions of that colours, tints sometimes with other colours rather than just purely black and white. That aside, really great piece, well composed, and these are a bunch of Pokemon that I actually do recognise and can understand. So that's more my era of Pokemon. Our next piece is by artist Revolutes, and it's called Pump. It's quite a surrealist looking piece, well composed, really well coloured, and a great feel to it. It's one of those pieces that you don't necessarily get an understanding from. You don't understand what they're trying to communicate, but aesthetically and to look at is very, very pleasing, really well drawn, and it's got that sketchy feel in a way that really complements the image, doesn't make it look messy, actually adds to the sense of shading, and the whole thing just is pleasantly interesting to look at. So thank you for sharing. And ladies and gentlemen, our final piece and feature of the week is by artist Akuto, and it's called Zombie Brand. Now, it's quite simple in its composure, but I just love that when it tries to get something right, it's got something right. Fantastic line work and awesome cell shading with sense of lighting. Fantastic pose. That pose is just, it brings in a sense of drama that is really well done, really well understood foreshortening with the hands, for instance, the hands toward you and the hand at the back. We've got this sense of scale and the motion and the clothing, everything flows in a way that gives a communication of action, of movement, and really good understanding of anatomy and color and lighting. So really great job. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the conclusion of this week's artist showcase. Thank you very much for joining me and watching. I'm a bit behind on the requests sent to me. I have about 120 more to review and catch up on, and keeping in mind when I review them on Newgrounds, I'll make sure to write 50 to 200 words. So whenever I sit down to write reviews of these artworks, it's like essay day. There's quite a lot of work that I have to do to keep up with it. So I will catch up with it. If you've sent me art, don't send me it again. I will get to it. Just be patient with me because there's a lot to get through. Otherwise, thank you for joining me for this week's artist showcase. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you later. Do you want me to review your artwork and have a chance to be in a future showcase video? Upload your artwork to newgrounds.com. You can send me a link by going to jazza.newgrounds.com and click send a private message. Make sure to include the word showcase in capital letters in the message title and give me a link to your piece of art. Please be considerate of my time and understand I have a lot to get through, so please only send me one image and not a whole gallery, and make sure that it's on newgrounds.com. Thanks for checking out this showcase. I look forward to seeing your art in the future.